This is pilot episode of FOO, You're a Rocker.
Yeah, this is it right here. This is it.
I think it took us too long to even get this far, so I'm very proud of what we've accomplished so far.
I know. Yeah, this is so we're starting this show. Why are we starting the show? Why are we doing this?
Well, from my understanding, we noticed that there seems to be a very common theme among a lot of people who listen to metal. Really, rock I would say is like a nice like gateway, but really when you get down to it, it's heavy metal.
They're white supremacists.
Yes.
That's what you mean, right?
They hate anyone who has melanin in their skin and who doesn't burn at the side of the sun.
Yeah, no, but for real, it's I've always thought, it's like 99% of the people that play metal are white, but us growing up, most of the people I knew listening to metal were brown.
It's, there's a common criticism too where, people will ask you like, hey fool, why you listen to white music?
Yeah.
I remember telling people I like listening to like Creedence. And they're like, why are you listening to that white boy music? Like, Creedence is dope, and all of Mexico's in love with them. Why wouldn't I listen to them?
CCR? That was the staple growing up, man. Oh, my mom, you know what's crazy? My mom actually, when I first started into collecting records, like vinyl, my mom bought me all of the CCR discography.
Oh my God.
She bought me 5 records. Because she's like, ponme esta canción, la de... And I'm like, oh, that's a Creedence song, Mom. And she's like, oh, pero no la tienes? And I'm like, no. Like, I had like 10 records. And she's like, oh, ¿y cómo lo puedes conseguir? Like,
how can you get that?
So, yeah, she got them for me. I told them where, and she was like, here you go.
I got you.
So, I have them, and I would put them on. I even got the Saturday Night Fever.
Really?
Yeah, the Bee Gees soundtrack. They did it. I have that. I put that on. She just loves that, so.
You're right in that there's a lot of brown people who the music really it strikes a nerve with them.
Oh.
You'll excuse the little pitter-patter in the background. We have the great, magnificent Oscar at our feet.
Yeah, that is Oscar. He just wants to have fun. He's my dog. He's this little black and white Shih Tzu who he's 10 years old, but he's very sprite for his age.
I will say, yeah, he's got a lot of spunk for a dog his age.
Yeah.
You old, bro?
Speaking about dogs, though, where you from, dog? Who are people listening to right now? Who are you?
So for those who are listening for the first time, which I'm sure is everyone, my name is Alejandro Bravo Benito. I have a lot of different nicknames, I suppose, but it's usually just Alex or Bravo, so take your pick. My whole family's from Mexico. I'm the first one in the family to be born in the U.S.
Shit,
don't take that lightly. I know, yeah, I'm from Gringolandia. Chicano through and through. So I'm in the in-between. I refuse to be categorized by the simple, hey, fool, eres americano, mexicano, ninguno de los dos. But, grew up on Crenshaw and Adams.
Oh, shit.
For the first,
shout out.
Yeah, 7 years of my life.
Who's out there, though? Who's out there?
So my dad got a job at what was then the Holiday Bowl. He was a dishwasher at in the coffee shop in the bowling alley. Oh. And it was owned by a bunch of Japanese people. That used to be like the hangout spot for decades and decades. A bunch of Asian folks, Latinos, black people used to just show up. Let's get it. And so that guy who was the manager at the time really took my dad and his younger brother in. And so we were just out there. Puros tíos que viven por allá.
Wait, where is this at, though? Right on Crenshaw Adams?
So it's a Starbucks now. It's a Starbucks now. The facade of the building, just the outside, has been designated a cultural landmark.
Oh, shit.
So that's protected. And a bunch of the neon that they had in that shopping center is in the Neon Museum. But that's an actual Starbucks. It's right passing Rodeo on Crenshaw, right before Coliseum. So that was like very influential for me. And then we moved to Koreatown afterwards. So you're going from like one really distinct neighborhood to another, and it's just a complete culture shock. But it was nice, and we always talk about that Koreatown connection.
So I'm Vlad, Vladimir de Jesus Santos, if you want to, go by my government name. But yeah, it's funny because I have a tattoo of LA. I have a LA County tattoo.
You do, which I always admire when I see you.
You know, and it's it's funny because it's just like this. That's how we are. We're proud of where we're from. And I'm like, people be asking me, where you from, dog? You know, so I got it tatted on me.
Yeah.
But I'm from everywhere, so I was born in East LA. But I consider Koreatown home, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's something about it. Every time I would picture home, it's Koreatown. The Koreatown sign right when you exit Normandy. Take that right and it says welcome to Koreatown. Like that's that's home. Olympic and Normandy, you know, we were there for a minute. I always tell people this, but we first moved there because we were in Pico Union because that's where all the Salvies are at.
Of course, that's where
fucking Salvatrucha out here.
Yeah.
That's where all the Salvies are at, and fucking in the 90s it was too heated, dog. It was getting too crazy.
Really hairy out here.
Yeah.
For sure.
So my mom was like, we're gonna move to the nice neighborhood, Koreatown.
And moving on up.
Yeah, and it's funny because in our building we're the second Latino family, in an all Korean.
Wow.
It's on 11th and Ardmore where that's at, and then by the time we left, like 8 years later, there was only one Korean family left there. So
it changed really quick.
We gentrified it.
Gentrified it. Muy bien.
No, but it's funny because there's all this like racism and shit, especially with the aftermath of the
riots.
The riots, there's that whole like Korean, Black, Latino, like it's class shit, But yeah, I mean, people said that we ran down K-Town. But now, ironically, I'm back in K-Town, and now it's it's gentrified.
Now it's getting gentrified.
Yeah.
Now we're kicking the gente out.
Yeah. So it comes full circle. So that's where we grew up. So I think that's the impetus of that. growing up in these streets in LA. Bravo, we were kind of next to each other, but we didn't
never crossed paths.
We never crossed paths, and we had some mutual friends. You went to LACC too, right?
Yeah, and that's the weird thing, right? Which I don't know if I should be creeped out by it or accept it from the universe, like, hey, fool, this is your destiny. But I was surprised at the amount of like mutual friends we had before we ever even met.
Yeah, that's kind of gnarly.
I went to middle school with one of your friends. Shout out to Daisy.
So Daisy, what's up?
The incomparable mad scientist among all us foos.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, man. She's a Latina brown scientist out in these streets.
I heard her name is in Mars right now, so
that's true.
I can't say that.
That's true. Damn.
My name's on this podcast. Before we get any further, we should give the heads up. If you don't know any Spanish, we'll try our best to hit the SAP button if there's ever anything that's not clear or you probably want some more explanation of.
That's true.
Hit us up.
We're going to be speaking Spanglish, you know.
Which is super common here.
Yeah, but it's true that we'll try to translate that shit to all the people, also the fools that don't be speaking
We want foos from all over the world to feel like they're part of this.
Yeah. What is a fool, too?
Great question.
Let's do some definition,
Foos are the people that just happen to be around you. They kind of look like you. You're like, I don't know these people. I'm not trying to offend nobody. I'm not trying to get into any sort of misunderstandings, but what's up, fool? How are you? What's your deal? Where you from?
Yeah.
And it's those classic questions that, I think we all kind of have run into and trying to navigate these streets out here.
When I was in fourth grade, I had a friend who, my best friend at the time, shout out to my boy Yair, Mexican family. His mom wouldn't let him use the word fool because she said it was a bad word. Because she was like, la busqué, I looked up the word and it was it means fool. And I don't like you calling any of your friends fool, or they're calling you fools. Porque no eres
They're not
estúpido.
dumb. No son mensos.
Yeah. So, and he would say it a lot. I mean, everybody said it growing up. So fool, hey fool. But yeah, I remember going around their house and it was a bad word.
I think it has the sort of humble kind of overtone to it where you have to accept that you're a fool on some level to be allowed, to allow people to call you that. Hey, fool, I am a fool. I don't know everything.
It's humbling, right?
It's something to it. It keeps everyone on a level playing field. So to me, that's what a fool is.
I want to know where that comes from, though. Who said it originally? You think black people said it, and then Latino fools took it, and
I'm sure, especially since it's in English.
Yeah. Huh.
I mean, we'd be taking everybody's flavor.
Yeah, because was it Mr. T?
I pity the fool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I think
I don't know. If am I onto something?
Shout out to Mr. T and all his chains.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I really wanted a mohawk when I was a little kid.
Damn, Mr. T, icon, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Pity the fool. He's out here rocking chains.
With the mohawk? Yeah. That's why he was so yoked out. He's carrying all that weight.
Damn, man. But yeah.
So, all right, that's what a fool is. That's why we're asking where you from. More importantly, though, I think the most dreaded question I think that you could run into is, are you a poser?
Yeah. And I was just telling you this before we started. Like, I thought I was a poser, man.
So what is a poser for the people out there not in the know?
I tried asking my homie this too. What is a poser? And he said it was somebody who keeps switching it up. Like they're into something one week, something the next week. And I'm like, but isn't that just being eclectic? Like being into different shit. But it's more about trends. If you're following trends, you're trendy.
You're following. Yes, I think
you're a follower. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You're into whatever it is that's cool.
Whatever's hot.
Yeah, and then that's it. But so I felt like a poser like that, but. Not because of that, but it's because, when you're growing up, especially in this environment, I guess, where we grew up in LA in the 90s, you had a lot of gangbangers,
Oh, definitely, yes.
So you had to connect. You had to come through, if like my mom was like, everybody was judging everybody based on how they cut their hair. If you're a pelon, it's like bald head.
That buzz cut.
Yeah, so if it's like, that's kind of a uniform, you had a bald head, you had a big shirt. And the Cortezes, eres un pelón, you're a
Get
gang
the
member.
high socks going. Yeah,
definitely. Or you're a nerd. It would kind of vary.
Right, you could tell if someone's preppy or not.
Yeah, so I felt like a poser because I liked a bunch of different music, though. So I didn't know which path to choose. Because I did like gangster rap, and I started, this is funny, this is the first time we're actually talking about the subject about metal. But this is what it's supposed to be about. This podcast is supposed to be about metal and like why we like metal as brown people, and like
it's a very roundabout way of getting there, but we promise we'll get there.
Yeah, but I feel like a poser because I was like, what do I like? I love punk. I love all the shit that my mom grew up listening to, which was the Beatles, Donna Summer, like hella disco,
amazing,
Temerarios, Los Bookies, like hella cumbia too. You know what I'm saying? Like hella cumbia. So. I liked all that, and I still do. So I felt like a poser when I was growing up. But now that I'm older and looking back, I'm like, no, it's just nobody told me that it was cool. It was all right to like different shit.
I had a teacher in middle school who was my orchestra teacher, and he was a very accomplished jazz musician. Shout out to Mr. Amos DeLone, wherever he may be, the realist. He told me, like...
Hey, where was that fool from, though?
I think he's from the South.
Yeah?
I don't think he was from LA. Yeah.
Okay.
I got to look him up. But anyway. I remember he was the one who really introduced us all to like jazz even. I was in the room with other musicians, like kids who grew up playing instruments. And I'm just like, hey, dude, I'm not trying to go to second period. Like, what's up? Get me in your class. Teach me how to play something. Yeah. And, he would play Dave Brubeck before classes. We'd walk in and it's already going. And, that really threw me for a loop. I was like, well, first of all, what is this music? This doesn't sound like anything else I listen to. What's up? It's fast and it's making me feel funny, but it's not metal.
Oh, speaking of which, and I'm sorry to digress, but I remember that NPR did a radio piece that they credit Miles Davis allegedly for creating speed metal.
Really?
It's like a 1967 live recording in New York City.
Wow.
And I'm sure everybody probably knows this, but that Miles Davis was a dick. He's an asshole. Famous jazz musician, trumpeter.
Yeah.
He, who was in his band? Motherfucking Herbie Hancock.
Herbie Hancock.
Herbie Hancock was his pianist.
Really?
Yeah, he was 19 years old. He wasn't paying him.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then
what it's an internship situation?
Yeah. They were touring around and like they would have to like they got money I guess to ride the bus, but they were meeting at like somewhere in New York City to record this thing.
Right.
And I guess they had been touring, and everybody was really anxious and like just kind of frustrated. And you have fucking Miles Davis rolling up in his Porsche, like brand new Porsche, like just rolling through, not paying anybody. And they're like, "Come on, let's do this." He's late, and they're like, "Let's play." And everybody started playing fast and shit, and they're playing jazz and really fast. And everybody, apparently, people were like kind of thrown back because they were like, this is kind of a
What
little
is
too
this?
crazy.
This is very aggressive.
Yeah, it's very aggressive, and this is like late 60s, and apparently, I mean, they credit that with like one of the first. I don't know.
I mean, leave it to him to try to take credit, right? In some roundabout way, like, hey, my homeboy actually, like, nah, no, he didn't. But I can see how that easily could be, right?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, but that ties in, I think, to what you were saying about jazz.
Yeah, and so, the reason I brought up the story is he was one of the, like, really the first people to say, it's okay to like the rock you listen to and classical music and jazz, right? Like, what? That blew my mind.
Liberating.
Blew my mind. And I think, that I had a certain uniform, so like I belonged to a set. But it was still not even in that
repping a set.
Yeah, but like I'm repping the Rockers. I'm out here for these fools, and I'm wearing all black. Like I still have my Dickies and my Chucks and stuff, but it was always all black. So I would have people come up to me like, "Hey, fool, where you from?" Nowhere, dog. Where you from? like an idiot. I'm sure that could have gotten me in trouble with like the wrong person, but I always liked that threw people for a loop, and they were like, "Oh, I'm from so and so. I write this." Like, cool. And then they look me up and down. You're wearing all black. Hey, fool, you're a rocker? Like, yeah, dog. What's up? What you listen to?
And isn't that essentially what we're kind of getting at like what we're really talking about is that it's like we grew up in LA in the 90s when the gang shit was probably the hardest it has been in a minute, and you have these guys, socioeconomically who don't have a way out, and they join gangs and they do violence, and it's fucked up. But it's their way of like trying to belong to shit, and then they would see you or us
clearly not belonging to the same stuff.
Of course, and then like but they don't see you like as a threat. They don't try to come up. They're kind of like you. I think you mentioned it. You said they kind of see they're rebels. And they see you that you're listening to rebel music.
They recognize that in you because they feel it too. That's what they're ultimately, I think, doing.
Yeah.
It's that rebellion against the preppy, like do as you're told.
Yeah, because and I don't want to like romanticize anything because I remember shit was hard. Like gangbangers are not like like.
We've all been jacked.
Yeah,
we've all had stuff taken from us.
Yeah,
sure.
It's not like they're like like we're living together.
Nah,
it's
not at all.
It's more of like you have a chance at least.
You're making a choice by making eye contact.
Yeah, they're at least they know that you're not in a rival gang.
Right. It's like he's wearing
the black.
He's not wearing offensive colors.
Yeah, he's wearing black. Like he's if you're a rocker, like, and that's what they would ask me too. Because I didn't never subscribe to a full like. Uniform, as I would say, because I would say, like the Docs or the ripped jeans and the mohawk, or like straight up punk shit, or straight up combat boots, and like the dark thorn shirt and the long hair,
cut out vest.
Yeah. But I had spiky hair, and I, maybe I had an anime. I had what I had? I had an Evil Dead shirt. That was in Italian.
Amazing.
So it was like Evil Dead Italian. So they're not sure. They're like, if you're a rocker.
What's up with all this scary stuff you wear?
Yeah, exactly. And I would always kind of deny it, be like, nah, because I was trying to be like, I'm multi-dimensional. Like in their heads they're like, whatever, move on next.
Composer.
Composer.
And so how do you prove that you aren't a poser?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's like the existential question for foos all over.
In a way, though, it's kind of too late, though, because I feel like those questions were only important then, when you're like a teenager, when that matters, and literally life and death shit.
Yeah.
Now we're adults. Like, I'm almost 30. Like, the fuck, it don't matter if I'm a poser or not. Like, it really don't matter. Like,
yes, I'm a poser, and here's why.
Like, so what, fool? Like,
you're no longer trying to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah, I'm trying to pay rent. Like, I don't.
Exactly. When, back then, it's, you're trying to prove how down you are, how knowledgeable you are. You're a rocker, but you're a poser. Oh, that means you don't know shit about music.
Yeah.
Hey, fool, what's up? Have you heard Pantera? Have you heard Floods? Like, yeah, cool. But they check you. They test you with the deep cuts.
Yeah, and you know what, though? That's funny because that, in a way, like, getting into, like, rock, metal, punk, all that shit, you're kind of a minority within a minority because it's like you have the cholos who are outcasts of society. They're trying to do shit and they're violent.
Yeah.
And then you have, like, rockeros, right? Rocker fools. But they're rocker gangs too.
They're rocker crews.
Like I remember when I was in high school, this one like there was psychobilly was super in
Oh, definitely, me too.
You know?
Yeah, circa 2003 to 2007, 2008.
Yeah. So for people to know, psychobilly is a mix of punk and rockabilly. People be having the pompadours all wild and out and shit.
Huge pompadour, streaks in their hair.
Yeah, so there was a psychobilly gang in my high school.
Oh,
I don't know, they were a gang. They committed violence.
They shook people down, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was stories of these fools like, robbing liquor stores and, doing shit.
Oh, wow.
Like running out with beer and, one fool had gone to prison. He came out of skinhead and shit. They checked this one guy, this one fool who was, he's black. He was a psychobilly or rockabilly shit, and all these guys came through and they were like, hey, you can't wear this shit. And they stripped off this like piece of leopard skin that he had on his his denim jacket with all the studs. They ripped it off.
Denim dirty.
Yeah, and then I don't know if he switched schools or what, but I didn't see him after that. So there was gang shit too within that. There's gang stuff, but I think there's a sense of rebellion. But I guess it never ends. I don't know. You're going against something. I don't know.
That's kind of what makes also like the whole poser thing kind of lose its steam, in that, so you'd rather police other people and tell them what they are and aren't, instead of just like listening to this stuff or just like enjoying the scene.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how you want to like waste your time,
dude. And that's why it's hard for me, because I always loved metal because I loved how heavy it was. I started learning how to play guitar, and I was like, damn, technically this is incredible. Like I was really enjoying the music element of it. But with like punk, like I think I subscribe to the philosophy more, because I remember listening to Dead Kennedy's Nazi punks fuck off. Yeah. And there's a line where Jello Biafra, the lead singer, says, "You're no better than the bouncers," and he's talking about punks who police other punks.
Wow.
And they're Nazi punks. Yeah, and he's talking about like skinheads and like fucking white national bullshit, but I felt the same way about other punks who were like bullies.
They're being gatekeepers.
Yeah, you go to a show and they're like trying to beat you down, or they're trying to check you, like, hey fool, what you got on my 40, or like, they're just like, they're like
flashbacks right now. What you got on my 40s, dog?
What you got on my 40? And but that seeps into the culture. So for me, I was, I guess, I was young, I was naive, I was trying to have like a pure experience.
Yeah.
But everywhere you go, there's always somebody like trying to fuck with you, and like. So that's why I was like, damn, maybe I am a poser. Because fuck all this shit.
So, okay, why, at the end of the day, do you like metal? Like, what is it about that specific genre of music? Well, there's so many other kinds to choose from.
Yeah.
There's so many to get into. Like, what is it about that that's appealing? That's
a great question. That's the thing, yeah. Like, why? For me, I grew up on hip hop and rap, so... I didn't have like my mom would be like, there's música de Satanás, like devil's music, but I had a neighbor once too who he actually burned me a CD. When was this, like 2003, man. He was all punked out. He's like really good looking guy. He got a lot of girls, when you're young, you're like trying to look up to people. So I'm like, damn, maybe what's up with this fool? And I thought it was just like style and shit, but I didn't realize there's a whole musical aspect to it. So he brought me a CD, with like some Dead Kennedys, some Subhumans, some Dropkick Murphys.
Nice.
And he was like, here you go.
Have at it.
Yeah, so I think from that, I didn't like it right away. I was just kind of listening to it, but I knew it existed. And then, of course, with the advent of like Kazaa, LimeWire.
Thing just blew up. Things just
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You could literally, like I remember being in middle school, and then some fool had like a Nirvana patch, and I didn't know who they were. I was like,
Who's that?
Yeah, and I looked it up, and I downloaded some. I'm sure it was the wrong song. I don't even know what it was, but I was kind of like getting into it, just kind of like digging through it. But for me, it was Linkin Park, man. Listening to Linkin Park, because I remember my mom gave me for my birthday, I think she gave me like $15.
Oh, wow.
2000?
What a come up. That's 2 CDs at Amoeba.
Yeah, and now it is, but this is Circuit City times.
Oh, wow.
So 2001. So I was going to buy Eminem, the show, like the Eminem show.
Yeah.
Or I saw the Linkin Park CD, and I bought the Linkin Park CD.
Great choice. Hybrid Theory or Meteora?
Hybrid Theory, dog.
Wow.
Hybrid Theory, man. And because, I had heard it on the radio too. Come on, you're in LA, listening to fucking K-Rock.
Yeah, One Step Closer was playing all the time.
Yeah, One Step Closer to
Yeah,
that.
One Step Closer really, I think, got everyone. It made their ears perk up.
Yeah. So come on, you literally had a DJ in the band.
Yeah.
So that's a gateway for me. Straight up Linkin Park.
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah, it was like, wait, I like rap, but I also might like.
Do I like rock too?
Do I like rock? Am I a rocker? And that's the struggle too. I was like, I didn't want to admit it. Am I a rockero or what?
You're standing on the edge, right?
Yeah,
You're about to break.
Yeah.
I remember my brother bringing that album home like a month before it even was like playing on the radio.
Whoa.
I just remember looking at the back of it, and back then, Mike Shinoda's hair was red. You know, and it's like spiked up, and obviously not what you think about like Mike Shinoda when you think about him now.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, Chester with the flames on his wrists. Alright, dog, I see you. What's up? Impress me, y'all. Put it in, like, oh shit, this is dope. What is it? Paper cut?
Paper cut, yeah.
And you're like, all right, cool. But the next song can't be that dope. One Step Closer. Dun, 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 dun. Like, oh my god, this is gonna yes yo. It's about a pop.
That Me and the Music video, man.
Yes, for One Step Closer. They're in like the alley and stuff.
Yeah, my cousin Marcos, shout out to my cousin Marcos. I don't know where he's at, man. I haven't seen him in years. But when he used to live with us back in the day, the only time that, like, I don't know what they did, like some fucking deal, they paid some fool off and we got cable, like the crooked way though.
Oh, you got that black box.
I think so.
Muy bien.
I can't remember the 7th grade though, but I remember we'd wake up extra early every day before school. We'd have to, you have to be in class like 7:30 or whatever. So we'd wake up at 6 just so we could watch MTV2.
Yes.
Just so you could see the music videos, man.
I mean, MTV2 was the shit. Shout out to Headbangers Ball. Like,
yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like that. I remember watching the video for Holy Diver on Headbangers Ball for the first time.
That's crazy.
And I was like, first of all, who is this little guy waving this big ass sword around talking about Holy Divers? Like, what? You're blowing my mind right now, dude. And it just like, it keeps going.
Yeah, it does.
So I would stay up to watch that shit. It would be like 12, 1 o'clock. I'm in the living room, like trying to keep it low, watching this shit on the low. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So there's kind of different avenues, right?
Yeah.
Like you're bombarded with different things. So it's like, what are you into? Because at the same time, I grew up with everybody else in my family is not into metal at all. Like I kind of envy you because you have a brother who you're kind of share that with.
Shout out to Carlos Ivan, the realist, Carlangus.
Oh shit!
No, senpai. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think he was a big development in that.
And I want you to talk about this because I think that's really important. Is the sibling factor, man? Because,
yeah, definitely.
Because I didn't have anybody in my family, immediate family, that was into this shit at all. Like I had to rely on other things, but I would go to school and I remember this one kid he was young, had a leather jacket, sick pompadour. His older brother was into psychobilly, so of course.
Yeah, he's gonna glom onto it for sure.
Or fools who listen to hip hop and like gangster rap, their brothers are pelones, so they're a pelon too, you know. So it's like you don't. And I'm like, I didn't have an older sibling. I did. No, shout out to my sister Esme. I'm not putting her down. She was just into like reggaeton and shit, which I did fuck with too. Yeah. But I also had other interests, So I'm like, so I want you to.
Yeah, I can relate to that, and just in the sense of like, I do feel like I missed out on a lot of my like Latino music education, just because like my dad would listen to just like Las Hilguerías, Los Bukis, Las Hilguerías, 2 ladies from Michoacán to just tear it up, bro.
Yeah.
Sing about the most depressing stuff.
What?
It's beautiful.
Shit.
I'll put you up on some stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, like Los Tigres, Los Bukis.
Oh, yeah.
So like just really basic like Chalino Sanchez. Like that's what I was used to. Like my dad's music, that's Spanish music for me. And then my brother was like, so he's 5 years older than me. I remember him listening to like Biggie and Pac and just like all that stuff that was popular in the 90s, hip hop, which I still love today. I tell you all the time, like this is how we do it. Yes, please, I will sing along to that. That should be my new karaoke song.
You should.
But, I do appreciate that. Like he would just bring stuff home and I'd be like, oh, what is this? I'm like, oh, this is cool. And, you idolize your older siblings and like, that's my big brother. Like, oh, he can do no wrong with the music choice. Infallible taste, bro. But I do remember like he brought home like tapes, CDs even when those started coming out or getting more popular. The Corn followed the leader. I think I've mentioned to you before. Very influential.
Damn, he brought that home?
Yeah, he brought that home. I was like, okay, cool. My mom threw his tapes away one time. It's the música satánica again, right? It's the devil's music. We can't have that in this holy house.
Yeah.
Get it out. But I even remember like him bringing home the first Mudvayne album, and he admitted to me like later on, like a few weeks after, like, hey, yeah, the first time I heard that, I took it off because it kind of scared me.
Wow, that's
Because it's so far outside of like what we were used to and like what rock and roll is, and so that was like a big distinction and like a big jumping off point to like, no, this is something else. This is like another thing entirely. It's metal.
yeah.
You know, and that was kind of the alluring part. But to speak about the sibling relationships, it's really nice how like we do have that overlap in bands that we love. But then there's like stuff he really likes. He's the one that really was into the emo stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he would always be bumping like Asking Alexandria, that kind of like.
What about the Deftones, though?
I think that's
him?
I think I stayed on that longer than he did.
Okay.
Because he fucks with them.
Okay,
but he's not on it. Like he probably doesn't know that a new album's coming out next year.
Because I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know Bravo was like into metal that much. I mean, when I first met him at UCLA, he was wearing a Deftones shirt, so I was just like, oh, you know, this was into like the Deftones or something.
Yeah.
But
just into like weird prog rock.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. So, but shout out to your bro then.
Yeah, man. The Deftones really they like tore me up because, you know, you get early albums that are new metal. There's like rap and with like some rock, like heavily distorted riffs.
Yeah.
But then the more it keeps going on, it gets more like dreamy and like
It's
there's songs where the music sounds soft, but he's like screaming, or vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, heavy music. And this dude's like crooning over it. Like it's a romantic song. It's a ballad.
Hey,
like,
is that from Mexican or what? Chino Morelos?
Yeah.
Or what was it? Yeah, okay.
From Sacramento.
Sick ass.
Shout out to the city of trees.
I never really got into Deftones. I feel like that's, you know, you have to, it's impossible to listen to everything, I feel. I mean, I had heard a couple of their songs, but I never really got into them, you know. I was more into Iron Maiden at that point. But
so like I was listening to like Deftones and Tool at that time.
Damn, sick ass fool.
You know, growing up. Like Tool was for me such an influential band.
Yeah.
And they're really not.
So that's why you're a libertarian, huh?
I didn't want this to be the forum where it came out, but yes, I am. Very, very much so. But yeah, it's that, and you know, it's always weird when you like run into a fellow metalhead because there's something in your soul that just gets excited and happy, like
yeah, it's because you geek out. That's the thing too. Like I've always, like especially with cholos, they'd be like, "Oh, you're a rocker fool," or when I was younger too, and you know, I was still like not rebelling against how like my mom had dressed me and how I had to be presentable as a child. You know, people are like, "Oh, this was a schoolboy. He's a nerd." You know, but I never been a nerd. I was a geek. Like, you know,
there's a difference.
I geeked out about shit.
You like what you like.
Yeah, I wasn't good at math or science,
right.
You know? Like, I geeked out about shit that I like. Yeah, like you said, like comics and shit and like, you know, movies, of course.
Right.
But music. So I think that's the thing about it. When you see somebody else who likes something, you want to geek out. Like, oh, you listen to this album? And
let's share in our nerdiness together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... you know, this is what I was going to say. Like, why metal? You know, like, why do you like metal? Like, why do I like metal? For me, I'm going to say it's Ice Cube, man, actually. It goes...
Really?
It goes
far back?
Yeah, because you know what? This is the thing, too. You know, I'm Salvi, so I'm Salvatrucha. My parents are from El Salvador. You know, they came here after the Civil War. Like, growing up, my mom, you know, talked about, like... my mom was part of a union, so... There's always talk about injustices in my family.
Yo.
So for me, and I was the firstborn here too. So for me, I think it like manifests. There was a lot of like responsibility, you know, as like being the son of an immigrant and like, you know, a refugee.
Right.
Like,
you feel that sort of weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, and I remember when I was a kid in third grade listening to Death Certificate by Ice Cube in cassette, and just being like, damn, he's angry, but he was smart, and I had never heard anybody like really articulate and like. A feeling of feeling wronged and like being angry, you know. So I feel that's why I gravitate towards that music, because a lot of metal is angry, of course.
Right.
There's sense of injustice, but also brutal. It's like life is brutal.
Yeah.
You know, it was more brutal than war. My mom, you know, told me war stories. So I feel like I had already been primed for that. You know, nothing else really like. So for me, listening to it and listening to that music and reflected in art. Already spoke to me, so.
Do you think it's like just the mere fact that they're acknowledging it, let alone expressing themselves using that like anger?
Yeah, definitely. Because it's like, when is anger ever like creative or good?
It's not okay
It's
most
not.
of the time.
No, it's anger. Anger is not good. But,
Yeah.
and it sounds angry, but I think it comes from a place of like inner turmoil, I guess, I don't want to get too deep into it, maybe.
Don't want to get into the armchair psychology here.
Yeah. We're getting like, I should just go see a counselor or something. But
Yeah, there you go.
No, but what I'm saying is, for me, I think that's why I think the transition was really easy from rap to metal, because
Right.
like all the rap I was listening to was angry. It was just like, it's real talking about shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a song Ice Cube has called, what is it? It's like St. Louis, 1993. And it's a whole movie, man. It's about him going to St. Louis and like starting up selling drugs over there and destroying that community.
Oh, wow.
And he's kind of talking about the drug dealer perspective, And of course we have that now in hip hop and trap music, but that was very new then. And like, I think it touches on a lot of like, classic elements of metal.
Right. Huh. Well, I mean, for me, I know that there's certainly that appeal of this music isn't like everything else because it's so angry and so scary. And, that for me was reflective of like people. I grew up a big XMen fan. They discriminated against the mutants. It's a big allegory for immigrants.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they're just different. Why? Because they're mutants. We don't like them. Like, get them out. And I always thought that like metal got that same sort of rap where it's like, nah, that's the devil's music, or that's just, they don't know what they're doing. There's nothing really, there's no thought behind that. It's just noise.
Yeah.
And so I think when I started listening to it, that was so mind-blowing. I thought, oh shit, these people are wrong about this. Like, there's so much composition, there's so much thought behind all of this stuff.
Can I also say the X-Men theme song?
Oh, fuck me up. Yeah, the iconic, and definitely, I mean, I think probably added to my like willingness to want to listen to music that sounded similar.
Power Rangers theme song. Dude, it had
There's
double pedal.
There's a Buckethead version of the Power Rangers theme song that's amazing. Yeah, we'll listen to it in a bit.
Damn. And you were just telling me too, which is interesting. I had no idea that Doom, the video game, used the developers were metalheads.
Yeah, the programmers had to have been, for sure.
And you said it. Well, you say it. Tell me what you told me.
Yeah,
which is
so
incredible.
I mean, even when you load up the first level, like E1, M1, whatever, it's Master of Puppets and like a half key down. It's such a blatant ripoff. But what? No one was listening to that stuff in mainstream that much. I don't think. I think the.
Yo, can we put that on? I'm gonna put that on right now, just so you guys can get a little playing of it. I mean, we don't want to violate anybody's copyright. I'm gonna edit this in, but I want you to listen to a little bit of it.
Yeah, so like, there's not much overlap, I feel, between like the metal community and like nerds. At least it wasn't acknowledged back then, like computer geeks. But these dudes really put Master of Puppets into their game. And you know what? It was just such a trip, because you're playing these games and it's so successful and like so many people got into it, right? But I don't think half of them know what's what. There's Megadeth songs in there, there's Pantera songs in there. And like they kind of they were really sneaky about it. And they just like, here you go, y'all, but it's at a different key. Enjoy.
Here it goes. I mean, I don't know if you can hear this, but we'll edit it in, but. Hard. How did they? That is incredible. They programmed that. That's great.
Yeah, the very like one note at a time, maybe two if you're lucky. Yeah, the sound chips weren't advanced back then, but
that's definitely Master Puppets. That's incredible.
That helps tie the whole like metal to like horror imagery and like very violent, demonic iconography. If you want to use a nice $10 word there, it's just really just like the aesthetic, what it looks like, the images you associate with this music, and I think it stuck, right? Because, I mean, Rob Halford's been doing it for decades. It is just continuing that trend. For sure. That's it's there, man. The signs are there if you look for them. Yeah, there's a lot of connection between all this sort of stuff.
You know, it's crazy. I'm thinking about what would our parents think? Like, what would our moms, pobrecitas, like they'd be so sad hearing out that they trying to, be nice Christian women raising fucking two kids who like the devil's music.
I think my mom sort of just accepted it eventually. Not an accepting that she likes it, but because I was in orchestra growing up, she kind of respects the inner musician in me, like admiring all this like compositional work. She's like, es que es músico, right? He's a musician, so he hears it differently than us, so he appreciates it differently.
Look at your mom supporting you.
And it was very surprising because, like I told you, she would throw away my brother's tapes, his CDs, and all this shit.
Yeah.
And it's because he was a little more of a troublemaker. I think I've always been like the quieter of the two. So I think she was like, you know what? If it keeps him entertained and not in trouble, that's fine with me. Like, he's not lashing out violently against anyone.
I had when I was in high school, I was in a band, and my homie Matt, shout out to my homie Matt. He got a drum set when we were 15.
Nice.
I got a guitar.
That's huge.
Yeah, dude, we played in his house. So I remember we were playing some shit because we were listening to Metallica. We were listening to Interpol too. This is when I started
Very
getting
nice. Okay.
So we were playing some shit, and I remember one practice, we were just, jamming out, like playing hard and fast, like we were fucking around, And his dad comes in, opens the door. He's like, "Stop playing this fucking noise." And because shout out to Matt, he was playing a saxophone. Before that, his dad wanted him to be the next Kenny G. So I felt bad after that. I was like, damn, we're out here playing like noise,
noise rock before you'd even been exposed to it.
Yeah.
I mean, and for those of you who are kind of titillated by the idea of saxophone and metal, go check out some Anyson. He has like an album or two where...
How do you spell that? I don't even know. What is that?
Isahn.
Anyson. I don't know any...
Some dude, I don't know where he's from, but he's wild and like he plays saxophone crazily over like some metal beats.
What?
It's strange.
It sounds good though?
Sometimes. That's why if that idea is appealing to you at all, check it out.
What is
Anyson.
Anyson. Like that?
Yeah.
It's IHSAHN.
Oh, well.
What song though?
I gotta look up the album, bro. I don't think it's any of those. There's some weird stuff in there, but that's something to check out. But that does lead into maybe the final part of the podcast.
Recommendations.
Any recommendations for people who are trying to get into metal? Like, what's a good starting point for everyone out there?
Yeah, that's true.
You got an album you want to check out? Be like, all right, what's up? Let me fuck with this.
Yeah, that's good. What do you recommend to people that don't listen to metal?
So I think you should know your audience when it comes to like the metal recommendation, obviously.
Yeah.
So I know for a lot of people the voice is a little grating, but Black Sabbath, Ozzy, the first album is just front to back. It kind of, you can see where rock and blues kind of went south and just turned into metal. I was talking to you a few days ago about the first song. It starts out really creepy. It's like you feel like you're going into the forest. And then, oh shit, there's a rock band out here. What's up? And they're just singing all this crazy, like, scary things to you about, hey, dog, there's a Black Sabbath out there. Like, that shit happens on Black Sabbath. You want to hear more? Like, yes, please. And, that album,
Europeans, man.
Behind the Wall of Sleep,
yeah,
amazing song. Nativity in Black, Evil Woman. The Wizard.
Yeah.
You go through that album, and it's just song after song where it's not quite metal as people kind of think of it now.
Yeah.
But you get enough of like the rock and roll with like that evil sort of sound like tucked away in there. And it's surprising, but I think people kind of get scared by how much they end up liking it because it's so groovy. It's really funky in some parts.
It's super funky, yeah.
Yeah, and so like even
it's not what I thought it would sound.
The Wizard with the harmonica on the front end of it.
Incredible,
You
man.
don't expect that, but it fits, and it's for what they're trying to do. It's great. If you don't like Ozzy's voice,
later Black Sabbath,
some later Black Sabbath, Yes, listen to Heaven and Hell with Dio.
Yes.
They got just a completely different singer.
Mob Rules is good too.
Mob Rules is great.
I hated on it when it first came out, but
And it's just you get the same exact band with a different singer who sings more in an opera style. That's the little guy I was talking about earlier, singing about Holy Divers. Ronnie James Dio, rest in peace.
R.I.P. man, big homie.
Yeah, so those, if you want to check out just some like early metal and kind of see, like dip your toe into the pool, first Black Sabbath album, it's self-titled, or listen to Heaven and Hell, the Dio years.
That's true. Yeah, because like, there's like classic rock like Led Zeppelin, right?
Oh, yes.
Of course, and I don't know if people are into that, or you know what, the Kinks.
Really?
Because they actually, they're more like proto-punk, because they have like the, it is the Kinks, right? With the like, yeah, you really got me going.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that riff, it's like,
got me now.
Yeah. And funny enough, covered later by Van Halen.
Yes.
Really well, actually.
Did phenomenally for them.
Yeah, it was really good. But yeah, okay, this is what I was going to say too about metal. My wife doesn't like metal. And I've played in the car, and I have to take it off. I mean, get a couple songs in.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah,
not all the time.
Especially I'm at an advanced level where I be listening to some like Swedish black metal or like or some melodic death metal.
Mellow death metal, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is relaxing.
Beautiful.
But it's like take the shit off. But surprisingly enough, she likes Iron Maiden.
Well, of course.
But for me, I don't know why I was amazed by that. Or I was just kind of taken aback because Iron Maiden is metal,
It's always really nice to be surprised by someone liking a band.
Yeah.
Because you see what exactly about that band, like something about them is resonating. It's hitting, it's scratching that itch for them, and it's always surprising to see what people's itch is.
Yeah.
So like Iron Maiden,
it's melodic.
You get the opera vocals soaring over everything. Oh,
yeah,
like
clean
really
vocals.
Clean vocals. The galloping bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, we were singing "Fear of the Dark,"
Wow.
together, because it's a great song.
It is.
Fear of the dark, fear of the dark. Dun, 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 But I think that's a great album for people that might be teetering on it. I think Iron Maiden is a good gateway to it, because I think they're very middle of the road. I don't know. How
So basically, I think
Maiden?
What's being said here is check out some early metal bands. Don't feel the need to start with Burzum because you want to avoid them at all costs. But
yeah, that's true. Don't get into like cattle decapitation right away.
Right, that takes some time.
Or Acid Witch even.
You'll get there eventually, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. It's a progression, because even for me, the later levels of metal, I just recently, like within the last 5 years, got more into like sludge or now you're telling me about stoner metal, like I was never that into it, but.
And I will say this before we wrap up. There is something so like satisfying about your journey as a metalhead, because everyone starts out somewhere, and fast forward 10 years, you still kind of like that stuff, but you've expanded your taste so much just from listening to so many different kinds of genres and bands within metal, that it's a nice retrospective. It's nice to look back on it and be like, I had my Children of Bodom phase, I was really into Atreyu, and it, like those, there's nothing bad about it.
And then you have your evergreen bands like System of a Down, who slapped from the first day.
Shout out to Glendale, California, the Jewel City. Thank you for giving us those blessed Armenian boys.
I know, right, dude? It's 7th grade, or when I was 6th grade, listening to the
Toxicity came out in middle school.
Yeah.
2003?
2000.
2?
Well, somebody
we'll look that up.
We need somebody checking out facts, yeah. But what I'm saying is all the way through good. This year, I was just like, I really got into them again. I was like, wait, what?
That first album is super heavy.
Super, man. Ahead of its time. Like, nobody sounds like that.
Wow.
People want to sound like that. But
y'all, go listen to some System of a Down if you haven't. They're not for everybody, but they really do it up big. It has a nice balance between like the really fast and crazy sounds and like the calm, soothing voice of Serj Tankian.
And this is something I guess we could talk about in other episodes, but we got to talk about content matter for metal too, because System of a Down is a political band.
Very political.
Like
in the vein of like Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, exactly. So some metal is not political at all. Like,
right.
Cannibal Corpse or even Children of Bodom maybe, but you have bands like System of a Down, Rage, who are super political and like cattle decapitation, vegan, black metal band.
Preaching the values of global warming and why we should probably stop it.
Yeah, exactly. Napalm Death, grindcore pioneers.
If you liked this program in any way, shape, or form and you want to know what the fuck we're talking about, go listen to some of these albums. Look them up on YouTube. I guarantee they're all there.
Yeah.
Spotify, if you're really pressed.
Exactly, yeah. Spotify, yeah.
A surprisingly deep metal selection on Spotify.
Yeah, so that's about it. Like, well, let's see what should the next episode be about.
If you foos think this episode slapped in any way, shape, or form, please let us know.
Yeah.
Give us that positive reinforcement. We'll probably keep doing this shit.
Yeah, and I also want to bring homies on, man. I want to bring all the homies that I grew up with, like, who are, like, who I feel like know a lot of shit about metal or who are metalheads. So
yeah,
I
definitely.
want to know why. Like, why do you like this shit? I think it's interesting. Everybody has an interest in knowing how they got into it.
Why were you 15 and listening to Deicide? Shout out to Wilfredo. You know where you are.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah. Like, yeah, I remember seeing the first homie wear a Dark Throne shirt. I was like, what the heck is that?
Oh my God. Beautiful.
Yeah, so Angel of Death
Morbid Angel?
Morbid Angel, Death Angel, all the angels.
Shout out to Death Angel from LA.
Yeah, all the Slayer fans who are dicks.
It's okay to say that out loud. It's kind of known.
Damn, I get jumped, fool.
Wow, hey, those Kerry King fanboys, you don't want to piss off.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's what we want to do. We just want to keep talking about what it's like for two brown dudes, brown fools from the hood.
Brown fools from the hood, yeah.
Grew up in LA in the 90s, who like metal. And yeah, man, fucking, where you from? Are you a rocker, fool?
Hey, fool, you a rocker? Let us know. Deuces.